Welcome back to Sports Talk with Dad. As always, my name is Kyle, and I cannot call this Sports Talk with Dad without the man sitting next to me, a man who apparently thinks a Lifetime Achievement Award is worth nothing. My dad, Tim.
It's worth something. Something.
So this all started because Tom Cruise is receiving an Academy Award, basically a Lifetime Achievement Award.
He's not receiving an Academy
It is an
Award.
Academy Award. It's an Academy Award.
He's going to get the gold Oscar statue.
The award will be presented. So Tom Cruise is being honored with an honorary Academy Award for his lifetime achievement in the film industry
It's going to be presented to him at the Oscar ceremony in March, right?
at the Governor's Awards event. I don't know what that means, but he's getting
When is
an
that?
Oscar,
Isn't that in like November?
November 16th.
Nobody goes.
Tom Cruise is getting an Oscar that he finally deserves. This is what I deal with. You know what? Because of this, I had an idea for the show.
Wait a minute. You do know John Wayne actually got a real statue for one of his movies, for True Grit, which was an outstanding movie.
Yeah,
He
when
got
you
a real Oscar.
when you do the same movie over and over and over again, and people are like, finally, we'll just give him one so he stops making the same damn thing.
Not true.
That is
Not true.
They're all the same movie.
They are
We've had this
outstanding.
conversation.
You're wrong.
Did the movie True Grit that he won the Oscar for start with him being a mysterious man that wanders into town,
No.
and then at the end he wanders off in the distance?
Nope. Didn't end that way at all. You need to watch the movie because it was a great movie.
Is that how it ended?
No.
That's how it ended.
It was not how it ended.
I bet you have seen it already.
No, you have not.
I'm sure the Jeff Bridges version was better anyway. The remake.
That is not true. You know who starred with John Wayne in True Grit? Glenn Campbell.
Oh,
One of
really?
the greatest guitar players of all time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that. But it led me to the idea for this show where we are going to say the top 5 not in the Hall of Fame. Oscars being included as a Hall of Fame induction. They don't have a Hall of Fame for acting, so I'm including Oscars. I wanted to know your top 5.
Okay. Do we want to do this one at a time?
We're doing one. I made my list.
All right.
I had you make your list starting at 5.
Starting at 5, and I'll start with my Oscar one. Because this guy should have won an Oscar for the role he played in Platoon, and that's William Dafoe.
It's Willem.
Thank you. I wrote it wrong. Willem Dafoe.
Shows how much you like him as an
I
actor.
love him as an actor.
He is a great actor.
From Wisconsin, too, I think.
He's from Appleton.
Yeah.
Went
But-
to high school with my father-in-law.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right. I watched Platoon once.
Great movie.
Hard movie to watch.
It's rough.
It's real rough.
So Tom Berenger, I've only ever known him from Major League.
Yeah. Different character.
I watched Platoon probably 6 months ago for the first time because you've been bugging me to watch it forever. Finally, I watched it. Tom Berenger is a very different person in that movie.
He is a different cat in that movie from other movies. Because I loved him in Big Chill, Major League, obviously. He was a badass in that movie.
Great movie.
Yes. And Willem Dafoe was outstanding in that movie. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor. Should have won. And my honorable mention is Amy Adams, who's been nominated 3 times, but should have won for The Trouble with the Curve. Great
You're
movie.
Obsessed with that movie.
Love the movie.
That's only a Trouble with the Curve is a great movie.
Yeah,
And that's why she's on my list.
exactly.
Name another movie Amy Adams is in.
She did one about Julia Child. She was in one of those Superman movies. I think she played Lois Lane. And
Okay, that backfired on me. My number 5. If we're doing Oscars, I'll stick with mine. It's Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise has been nominated 4 times for an Academy Award. He was nominated for Born on the 4th of July.
great movie.
He was nominated for Jerry Maguire,
Good
which
movie.
Cuba Gooding Jr. won,
Yeah,
but
as
Tom
he-
Cruise didn't win. He was nominated for Magnolia, which I had never heard of till I looked up this list. And he was nominated for Best Picture for Top Gun Maverick and didn't win. On top of that, he was in Taps, which is a very underrated movie.
Love Taps.
He was in The Outsiders as
Great
part of
movie.
that crew. He was in Risky Business, All the Right Moves, Legend,
He's been in
another great. I'm just naming great movies. Top Gun, The Color of Money, which was great. Cocktail, I didn't know he was uncredited in Young Guns. I didn't know that. Rain Man, how did he not even get nominated for Rain Man? That was great. Days of Thunder, A Few Good Men.
Yeah, and you know what he did? He played Tom Cruise in every one of those movies.
But they were very different movies.
They were. Born on the 4th of July, he should have won. Rain Man, he was outstanding with.
Wasn't even nominated.
I think his co-star in the movie, Dustin Hoffman.
I think did he win for Rain Man?
I'm wondering.
He was definitely nominated for Rain Man.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
Dustin Hoffman definitely was the star actor in that movie. I get it. But it was Tom Cruise that allowed Dustin Hoffman to be the way he was. You had to have the straight guy to the Dustin Hoffman character.
Tom Cruise actually had to stretch for that role because he had to play really kind of a nasty character that evolved during the course of the movie to realize this person is somebody special.
Yeah.
So
great movie. He was in Tropic Thunder and did win a Golden Globe for Tropic Thunder. That whole movie should have been nominated for an Academy Award. That's one of my favorite movies. Time and time again, this man, he tried with The Last Samurai to get an Oscar.
That was a bad movie.
It was a movie. I didn't leave the theater from that movie.
John Wayne did a movie like that where he was a samurai. Neither one of them should have played a samurai.
John Wayne was a samurai?
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't one of his best. Let's put it that way.
I need to see this one now. Tom Cruise is on my list for top, and he's getting his Academy Award, but should have won for one of his movies because he is a great actor. I'm happy at least he's getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. By the way, the Hall of Fame is a Lifetime Achievement Award. So for you shitting all over Lifetime Achievement Awards for Tom Cruise, I want you to know you just shit on all Hall of Famers and told them that this is nothing. So congratulations.
Now you're going to make it so Tom Cruise is never going to come on the show because of me. Thanks.
Okay. We get a lot of people not on this show because of you. The other half are because of me, so it's okay.
Yeah. All right, my number 4 is people not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Okay.
And I've got...
That's hilarious because I have one of those too.
Okay. Mine not in that Hall of Fame. Ozzy Osbourne as an individual contributor. He's in for Black Sabbath. Lita Ford is in for the Runaways. She should be in on her own.
But they're in the Hall of Fame.
I am. That's why I'm not including them. Tommy James and the Shondells is not in the Hall of Fame. That group should be.
I don't know who that is.
Tommy James. Oh, God. Crimson and Clover.
Now I know who this is.
Yeah, you know who it is. The one that should be in the Hall of Fame that's not is the Monkees.
Oh, my goodness.
You cannot tell the story of rock and roll without the Monkees, and the Monkees should be in the Hall of Fame.
TV show.
They had 4 straight top-selling albums.
So did the Partridge Family.
No, they didn't. The Monkees actually had great writers. I mean, they had some of the best writers in the music industry.
Yeah, it was a popular TV show.
Their music was also very, very popular. Top 10, number 1 hits.
Fair enough. You've been fighting for the Monkees for a long time.
Monkees belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
All right, should I hold on to my Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or since we're on it, let's do it?
Go ahead.
There's one answer to somebody not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that needs to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I think we are going to agree on this, but I wasn't going to steal your thunder, so go ahead.
The fact that Styx is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a joke. And the only reason, folks, by the way, that Styx is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I didn't know this till very recently. It's one person. It's one guy that owns the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and he decides who goes in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's not a committee.
No, he's got to bug up his butt about Styx, about the Monkees. Boston's not even in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Boston's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
When I was doing research on this, I saw that. They're not in.
My list may have changed a little bit if I didn't know that Boston wasn't in the Hall of Fame.
They belong in there as well.
They do. They were so short-lived because the lead singer died.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's in the 27 Club, isn't he?
I think so. But two of the greatest albums ever put out.
That's all they did was 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they never did it. I mean, how do you replace a vocalist like that? But back to Styx.
Styx belongs in.
Styx has some of the greatest music of the 70s, kind of into the 80s era. I won't give them 80s because that was the Mr. Roboto album and they broke up shortly after that. But if you look at Renegade, Blue Collar Man, the list goes on and on and on.
Grand Illusion.
Grand Illusion was great.
One of my favorite
That
all-time
whole
songs.
album was
Yes.
great. Invented the concept album.
No, they didn't. That would have been the Beatles for Sgt. Pepper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I lied. Either way, I don't care. They should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You cannot call it a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame without one of the greatest rock and roll bands of their generation. I'm not saying they're the greatest of all time. I don't want to hear comments. You're saying they're the greatest band of all time. I'm not. But they are one of the greatest rock and roll bands of their era, and the fact that they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a joke.
Exactly. And that's not even the fight that Tommy Shaw had with
Dennis DeYoung.
Dennis DeYoung, thank you. I get it.
They went different directions.
They went different directions. Tommy Shaw wanted a rock and roll band, and Dennis DeYoung was making Mr. Roboto.
He wanted more concept albums.
Yeah.
And yeah,
A great
it
band
was what it was, but still a great band that lasted a very long time, and it was one of the tops. A lot of people have their bug up their ass about Styx, and I don't know why.
I don't know.
They're
either.
great.
I've never seen them in concert.
I have.
I hate you.
They were awesome.
I bet.
It wasn't Dennis DeYoung. It was whoever they placed him with, which is just as good. Great show. They didn't move a lot, but the music.
Oh.
I mean, when I saw them, they were all in their 60s.
I was gonna say they've been doing this for.
But the music was great.
Years.
Tommy Shaw is like 4'0". He's a very, very short man. But man, can he sing.
And play the guitar.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
Great band. Styx needs to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
My next one, I'm going to go baseball on this one.
Okay.
Because there's only one answer as far as I'm concerned.
Wrong. I'm going to think of at least 5.
We don't talk about the steroid here because none of them belong in. And neither does Pete Rose. Thurman Munson, though, does belong in the Hall of Fame. Catcher, New York Yankees, played 10 years, so don't give me that.
He didn't play 10 years.
He was 6 days short of 10 years before he died in a plane crash.
I knew he was going to be on your list, so I looked up stats.
Of course you did. He belongs in. He was a league MVP, rookie of the year.
I didn't know he was the MVP.
Yes. Won back-to-back. He actually appeared in 3 straight World Series, won back-to-back. Was the captain of the Yankees in the 70s.
First captain since Lou Gehrig.
Reggie Jackson may have been the straw that stirred the drink. Thurman Munson was the heart and soul of those Yankees teams. Great catcher, outstanding catcher. He only played the 10 years because obviously he died in a plane crash. And if he would have played another 5 years, his numbers would have been there for the Hall of Fame. This is one guy I think you look back like Roberto Clemente and go, yeah, he was going to make it. He deserves to be in. So he's my guy.
Here's my question to you. Numbers are tied with the Yankees, as it should be.
Mhm.
I don't disagree with you. My question to you is if he played in Milwaukee or Kansas City or Oakland.
Wouldn't even be considered. And that's because he didn't get any national media. But it doesn't change the fact, even if he was in Milwaukee, he should have been in the Hall of Fame.
I'm just saying, if you put him on a different team and he's not a Hall of Famer, then he shouldn't be a Hall of Famer.
If you put him on the team and the Brewers, for example, go to back-to-back World Series, I think the attention would have been there, and yes, then he would have gotten there. The World Series are a big part of his resume for why he needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Fair enough. All right.
Yankee fans, there's one time I agree with you. So.
I'm going to go away from baseball. I do have baseball guys on my list, but I'm going to go football here on this one. I'm going to ask you a real question, and I need you to answer it honestly. How is Roger Craig not in the Hall of Fame?
He should be. Absolutely, he should be.
He is the reason today's running backs have to come out of the backfield and catch the ball.
He was a big reason those 49er teams won as much as they did.
He meant as much to those 49er teams as what's his name meant for the Steelers. Why am I blanking on
Franco Harris?
Franco Harris.
In different ways, Roger Craig was a much more versatile back than Franco was. Franco was a running back.
Yeah. The fact that Roger Craig is not in the Hall of Fame is an absolute travesty. I don't need to go over his stats because they're outstanding. But just the fact this guy was in 4 Super Bowls, he was one of the stars of that team. His numbers are there. Put him in. It makes no sense to me.
Should have been in a long time ago.
And if you're going to put certain people in the Hall of Fame, Roger Craig needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, speaking of, if you're going to put in certain people, I've got 2. One case is a little weaker, but the other one's very strong.
Is this your last 2? You got 2 left.
Yeah, these are my last 2.
Well, then you're gonna do them all 1, 2.
Go ahead.
No, I did mine. It's your turn. I just curious. Do your last 2, and then I'll do my last 2.
Okay. Jim Plunkett should be in the Hall of Fame. He was an MVP in a Super Bowl and 2 Super Bowls, I think. He came in for the Raiders in 80 and 83 and was the reason they won. His overall stats are good. He was number 1 round draft pick for New England. Sadly, they had some really bad teams in New England.
Yeah.
He's always been looked down upon because of those years. He shouldn't be. He's an outstanding quarterback, and he belongs in the Hall of Fame. He's won 2 Super Bowls and was the reason they won those Super Bowls. Big part of it.
I'm not denying you there. It's the question, if you win 2 Super Bowls, does that automatically put you in the Hall of Fame as a quarterback? That precedent has to be set, though. I mean, if somebody comes in, they literally play 2 seasons and win 2 Super Bowls, does that put them in the Hall of Fame?
Well, the real question, the test case is going to be Eli Manning if he gets in. He had good numbers. So did Plunkett. They both belong in the Hall of Fame. As far
if
as
Eli Manning goes in the Hall of Fame, which hold that thought, because he will be brought up again later in this show. But if Eli Manning goes in, Jim Plunkett needs to be right behind him. Who's your last one?
Guy that should have been in a long time ago.
I know who this is.
Doesn't get any recognition. Earl Morrall.
Yeah.
Former quarterback. Won 3 Super Bowls with the Colts and then back-to-back with the Dolphins. In 1972, the undefeated season, he was involved in 11 games. They won them all. He won more of the games than Bob Greasy did.
I mean, to be fair, they won all the games.
They won all the games. But Earl Morrall was the quarterback for 9 straight. He belongs in the Hall of Fame. He was a league MVP in 68. He was the NFL champion with the Baltimore Colts at the time back in 68. He's got all the stats you need, and he was a Super Bowl champion 3 times.
The reason he's not in the Hall of Fame is because he was the starter when the Jets won the Super Bowl.
He was, and Unitas came back in, but they couldn't bring him back. He had a bad game, but Miami doesn't get to the Super Bowl in 72 without Earl Morrall.
Listen, I agree with you. I think he's the best player not in the Hall of Fame right now. He's a guy that needs to be put in, but that's the big issue. People remember him because he didn't play the Super Bowl on the 72 team. Bob Greasy was the quarterback.
He started the AFC Championship game. They put Greasy in partway. Morrall probably would have won. He certainly would have won the Super Bowl. They went with the younger guy and Bob Greasy. You can't take away what Morrall did for that team. You just can't.
I know, but it's the memory of him is losing to the Jets in Super Bowl III.
Yeah.
That's what keeps him out. I agree with you. He should be in the Hall of Fame, but that is the reason he's not in the Hall of Fame.
It is the reason, because he had a really bad game against the Jets.
All right, I have one. And the cases for both of mine are rock solid, but one of them you're going to strenuously disagree with. This one I don't think you can deny me on. This one just needs to happen. I went through all the steroid era players because I could have named a bunch of them. Barry Bonds should be in. Sammy Sosa should be in. Mark McGwire should be in.
No, they shouldn't.
But the one that definitely needs to be in is Roger Clemens.
Here's all I'm going to say about Roger Clemens. I've said it on the show, and I've said it for years. If you were accused of using steroids and you really didn't do it, you scream from the mountaintop and you take them to court. He did. He won.
He did.
So I have a hard time, even though he was on the Mitchell report, evidence was pretty strong against him. He did win in court.
He did win in court. Just for that one specific incident.
Yes. In fact,
Roger Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame. Roger Clemens is arguably the greatest pitcher of all time. He should be. He is. He is.
I'll give you 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That would be better than him.
Give me 10. Go.
Cy Young.
No. Cy Young does not count.
Yeah, he does.
No, he does not.
Yeah, he does.
Cy Young bounced the ball and got strikes.
Walter Johnson.
I'll give you him.
Warren Spahn.
Okay.
Greg Maddux.
Yep.
Lefty Grove. Whitey Ford.
I don't give you
Bob Gibson. Oh, look at the numbers. Bob Gibson. Tom Seaver.
Come on.
Look at Tom Seaver's record. He was one of
Who
the
would you
greatest-
rather have on the mound,
Tom-
Roger Clemens or Tom Seaver?
Tom Seaver.
No.
Yeah, you've got a recency bias. You never saw Seaver pitch.
I did not.
He was that good, and he belonged in there. Steve Carlton, I'd put ahead of him.
Nope. You're wrong.
I'm not. And that's just off the top of my head. Greg Maddux, did I say Maddux?
You did say Maddox.
Belongs in. Randy Johnson.
Randy Johnson I love Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson's one of my favorite players and has been since I saw him and Greg Maddux pitch against each other in Chicago.
Look,
But
I'll bet a bird against you being wrong on that one.
good one.
Thank you.
Roger Clemens, I would come on. I mean, that
Pedro-
is such a steroid
Pedro-
era.
Pedro Martinez.
They're very similar pitchers. Pedro Martinez is great. I mean, I take him, but if you're gonna give me Roger Clemens on the mound for a World Series game, I'm a very, very happy person.
Unless you're pitching against Bob Gibson
Bob Gibson,
or Greg Maddux
Greg Maddux, is a different animal.
or Steve Carlton.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Again, you didn't see him pitch.
I didn't see him pitch, so you're wrong.
No.
Because the current bias wins.
Yeah. Okay, so much for your recency bias. I knew you were going to say Clemens. I knew it.
All right, here's my last one.
Which one of the Royd era players you're going to include?
None.
Okay.
None. But the fact this guy hasn't even been considered for the Hall of Fame, I find to be an absolute joke. He is the greatest pitcher of an era. Has several awards and should be and has 3 World Series and needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Eddie McClain, Mickey Lolich.
Tim Lincecum needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
How long did he pitch?
How long did Thurman Munson play?
10 years.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Minus days. He pitched from 2007 to 2016. He pitched
9 years.
9 years.
How long was he really, really, really effective?
5 or 6 years.
Okay.
And then his arm started to fall.
And you know why I'll give you that? I had somebody brought this argument up to me off the air. He goes, "You have a problem with Lincecum because he only won a couple Cy Youngs, whatever. There's another left-handed pitcher that was really good back in the day that only had like 3 or 4 really good years and is considered the greatest of all time.
Sandy Koufax.
Sandy Koufax.
Yeah. I've said that
Ooh,
to
by-
you.
by the
But
way-
I'm glad to know that somebody else that says that to you, all of a sudden, it's accurate.
By the way, Sandy Koufax, I'd take over Roger Clemens too.
At his peak.
Yeah.
Because he's a lefty.
He's a lefty.
But Roger Clemens
He was
is
the
right
most
there.
dominating
Let
lefty
me
of all
tell
time.
you how good Tim Lincecum was.
Okay, go ahead.
4-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, 2-time NL Cy Young Award leader, 3-time NL strikeout leader, and pitched 2 no-hitters.
He didn't do it for 10 years.
Shut your mouth. There are Hall of Famers
Okay.
that don't have these numbers.
He's got a good case. And he's one of those.
He was called the Freak.
He was. Well, he had his pitch emotion. I mean, there's no way somebody that small should have been able to do it. But
He was a
Ron,
freak.
he's a guy like Ron Guidry, who was like 5'9" and one of the best left-handers of the 70s, who, if he's not in the Hall of Fame, should be.
Tim Lincecum needs to be in the Hall of Fame, and he needs to be more considered for the Hall of Fame. He is the greatest out of a 6-year period. Nobody was better than Tim Lincecum, period.
He was very good for a short period of time. It's going to take the Veterans Committee. He will never get voted in by
Which
the
I think
writers.
is a joke. If you win 2 Cy Youngs, if you're the strikeout leader 3 times in a row, and you used World Series as part of Thurman Munson's resume,
I did.
well, Tim Lincecum won 3 World Series, should have been the MVP for his first one, had a good chance as a reliever to be considered as the MVP for his second one. The third one, he was there.
Look, he's probably going to get in through the Veterans Committee. I've got a problem with how they do that. I've got a problem with the fact that Dave Parker is just going in now. He was a Hall of Famer 20 years ago, and now sadly he's passed away. And
It's Ron Santo again.
It's this year's version of Ron Santo, along with Dick Allen.
Yeah, Dick Allen died 4 years ago.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
So-
2020. 2020, 5 years ago?
5 years ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but
Tim Lincecum needs to be in the Hall of Fame. He's my number 1.
okay, let me ask you this. Along the same lines, these are 2 guys that are currently playing. Are they already Hall of Famers? Shohei Ohtani
Yes.
and Aaron Judge.
Shohei Ohtani, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Judge's numbers are better.
I'm not saying no to Aaron Judge. I'm thinking on Aaron Judge. Shohei Ohtani, pitching and hitting. And when he's just focused on hitting this past year, he was the best hitter in baseball. If Aaron Judge were to no longer, I think, well, again, it's hard to say with Aaron Judge because there's a Yankees bias with this. And I fall for it too. Everybody does. If you play for the New York Yankees, you're looked at different.
Yeah, but look at his numbers. I mean, he's got like 257 home runs. My question is he going to get to?
He has more than that, doesn't he? Yeah, 348.
So. Oh, is he up 340?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Oh, he's 257 away from 600. I
Yes.
think it was what it was. I think he's a Hall of Famer. He's going to get over 400 home runs.
I agree with you.
He'll clear that one. Ohtani is still about the story for me. Now, I'm not saying he's got numbers to earn on both sides yet, but he probably could go in right now just because of the story and what he's done for his first 10 years.
He's a Hall of Famer. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer right now. I don't think Aaron Judge is first ballot right now, but he will be very, very shortly. Shohei Ohtani should be unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer right now.
I think it's still about the story with him. I don't think he's done enough yet. I mean, he's doing things that nobody else has ever done, including Babe Ruth, because Babe didn't pitch and hit at the same time.
He did not, and he only pitched in the dead ball era, so those stats
he
don't
still
count
had to strike out people, and he still had an incredible fastball, and he was a Hall of Fame pitcher and would have been even in the fastball era, the hardball era.
We don't know that. He never pitched in the live ball era.
He did too. He pitched in 1932, I think.
Okay. How did he do? As a utility, I mean, that's no different than having Anthony Rizzo pitch.
He did great.
Come on.
He did great. What are you looking up?
I'm looking up.
We can't have dead air on this show.
Then keep talking. Shohei Ohtani right now, 5-time All-Star, 3-time MVP, 4-time All-MLB first team, 2-time Silver, 3-time Silver Slugger Award, RBI leader in 2024, 2-time home run leader.
What are his cumulative numbers?
I don't know. I don't have that in front of me. I just looked up his awards.
Which, you give those awards, yeah, he's a Hall of Famer.
Let's see here. As a pitcher, he's 42 and 50. Oh, never mind. That's Japan. MLB statistics: 38-19, a 2.99 ERA, 614 strikeouts. On top of that, he has a 281 batting average, 977 hits. He's already hit 255 home runs and has 623 RBIs. On top of that, 157 stolen bases.
He's going to be Hall of Famer.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer today.
He's got more work to do, but he's right there.
He's He's a unanimous Hall of Famer.
Well, let me ask
today.
If he got, because of what happened to Waylon Jennings, I never want to say this, but he's on a plane that goes down.
Sure. You could have just said he died.
I don't want to think of him dying because I don't want him to die.
He can never play baseball again.
I think
he's a first ballot Hall of Famer today. That's what I'm saying. Today.
Is it because of the story or because of his stats? I think a lot of it has to do with the story.
It's both, for sure. What he's meant to baseball, and he's had the statistics to back it up.
To do what he's doing in this day and age is nothing. I mean, you are actually seeing something, and I am too. We never saw Babe Ruth. He was dead decades before I was even born.
We're watching a once-in-a-generation player. We'll never see anything
like this
again.
Once in 100 years.
Aaron Judge, we'll see a player like him again because we saw Mike Trout.
Well, and we've seen Hank Aaron. We've seen
players like this before. Nothing away from his greatness. He's a every once in a while player. Shohei Ohtani will never see again.
No, I don't know if baseball will ever see that again.
No,
ever.
This guy is a freak of nature, and he's fun to watch. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer right now. I don't know about Aaron Judge being first ballot, but he is a Hall of Famer. But it leads me into questions. Speaking of Aaron Judge, what's more likely? I wanted to play a game. So I have 4 questions for you on what's more likely to happen.
Usually you give me these questions in advance. Thanks for this one.
I didn't want to give you these ones in advance. The list I needed you to have that one in advance. This
Okay.
one, not so much. All right. What's more likely? Clayton Kershaw just had his 3,000 strikeout.
Right.
So are we more likely to see another 3,000 strikeouts, or are we more likely to see Aaron Judge hit 600 home runs?
Did you look up who's close to 3,000 strikeouts?
I did. I have the statistics here.
Go ahead.
So if we're that's wins, sorry. If we are looking at strikeouts, Chris Sale, who is 36 years old, is at 2,528. Garrett Cole is next up with 2,251, and he is 34. Chris Sale has already dealt with injury history throughout his
He's
career.
35?
He's 36.
36? Judge will get to 600 first. That's more likely, I think.
I'm saying ever. I'm not saying first.
I know.
I'm saying ever.
I think it's more likely he gets to 600. Because Sale has had injury problems. He's a strikeout pitcher. But 500 strikeouts.
Aaron Judge is 33 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He has 348.
Coming into the prime of his career. I mean, guys are really good from 30 to 37 or so.
34, 35 is about the drop off for men. He's in his prime right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs to hit 250 plus more home runs.
I think he gets there.
He's 252.
I think he'll get there.
What is the average on that? If we're taking 252, so I mean he'd have to do it in 5
25
years.
over 5 years.
50 over 5 years.
50 over 5. Sorry.
50.4.
That's why I don't do math.
Yeah. He has to hit 50 home runs a year for 5 years. He'll get to 500.
I think he gets to 600.
He'll never get to 600.
I think he will.
It won't happen. Now with 3,000 strikeouts, it's hard for me to say because people are striking out more today than they ever have because baseball's decided we're just going to swing for the fences all the time, and it's boring. And so that will increase strikeouts for pitchers. Now, will they ever pitch enough innings to get to 3,000 strikeouts? That I don't know. I don't think that.
I don't think we're.
Well, here actually.
I don't know that we're ever going to see another 300 win pitcher.
Yeah, that's a lot for Garrett Cole at age 34. That's 750 strikeouts he needs.
That's too many.
He's 34 already.
No, I don't see that.
If you're looking at the youngest guy with the most, what are we looking at here? Rich Hill's still playing? He's 45 years old? That's crazy. Nobody on this list. Let me see. 1,000 strikeouts is under 30 years old. Freddie Peralta has 1,060 strikeouts. He is 29 years old.
Never going to get to 3,000.
Nope.
And I'm not sure. I think Verlander is as close as you can get to 300 wins. And I don't think at 42, he's
300 wins. He's at 262 wins. He's 42 years old. Clayton Kershaw's at 216.
He's 37.
37.
He's never going to get there.
Max Scherzer's 40 at 216.
Never going to get there.
Garrett Cole's at 153 at 34.
Nope.
I don't think we're going to see either. I know. So what's more likely? I think 3,000 strikeouts is more likely. There's no way Judge gets to 600.
I think he gets to 600. I mean, that's
a lot of home runs.
Yeah, but as you said, he's going to see a lot more fastballs because they're just going to be throwing them up there.
I mean, if we're talking 252, I mean, he would have to average 25 home runs for the next 10 years. That's taking him to year 43.
It's not that much.
That is a lot.
He will get there.
That's a lot of home runs, man.
He will get there.
I mean, that's him not getting hurt.
That's true. As long as he doesn't get hurt, he'll get there.
I can see if he doesn't get hurt getting there.
He will.
But if he has 40, 40, 40 the next 3 years, then I'm like, okay, maybe he has a shot at it. He's an injury away from that 600 being gone forever.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, look at what Hank Aaron did. He became the all-time home run king and never hit more than 50. He never got to 50 in a year.
He didn't. He was Mr. Consistency.
He was 25 seasons or whatever it was. So it can be done. I've seen it happen.
I don't see it happen. I think 3,000. All right, what's more likely, the Athletics or the Rays getting a new stadium first?
Well, they broke ground on the A's stadium, but no work has begun on that yet.
They did that like 2 months ago?
No, they just did it, the official groundbreaking.
Did they have an official
They
groundbreaking?
had an official groundbreaking, but I haven't seen any work go on since then. The Rays are going to be back in the dump. I mean, the Trop, probably for another year or so.
They're not going to be in the Trop. You can't play there.
I know that, but they're fixing the roof on the stupid thing. I don't know why. There's got to be a mold infestation in that building because it rains every day in Tampa.
There. I'd refuse to play there.
I certainly wouldn't go to a game there.
No. If I'm a player, I'm not signing with the Rays.
They're going to have to scour that thing with bleach and bring in crews. I mean, it's going to be a nightmare to play there. But they're going to try to get it back open for next season, which is just ridiculous. The Rays have to be sold before you're going to get a new stadium.
Right.
And I think that's going to happen within the next 6 months.
If that happens, they'll get a new stadium pretty quick, not in Tampa.
It'll be in Tampa.
No, they're moving.
No, they're not. No, if they sell it to a group from Tampa, they will build in Tampa and it'll get done. As it says now, I think it's more likely that the Rays get sold and a new stadium is built in Tampa than it is for the A's to ever play in Las Vegas. I'm still not convinced it ever happens.
I don't think I've said this, I don't think the A's ever play in Vegas. I don't think that's happening. It's been way too long at this point.
Here's my thing about it.
I think the Rays are going to get a new stadium first in a different city.
No, I think they're going to be. I'd be surprised if they're not in Tampa now. With everything, with all the movement, with the owner, there's 3 ownership groups, but one is definitely leading. They've got the political capital to get one built in Tampa. I think that does happen. But here's the thing. There was all the talk about going to Orlando. Orlando and Las Vegas are a lot alike. They rely on tourism for everything.
Right. Orlando has a lot more people that live around there, though.
Okay, they do. I'll give you that. However, everybody that goes to Florida, they've had 3 million people over the last 10 or 4 million move there. They are all fans of different teams.
Right.
They don't fall in love with the Rays, even though the Rays are a great team. I love
Florida
them.
baseball doesn't work.
It does not work. It's an experiment they've tried. Miami doesn't have anybody going. Tampa didn't. The Rays had to close off the top half of the stadium because they couldn't fill it up.
Yep. During the World Series.
Yes. It's just Florida baseball is predicated on fans of other teams going to see the team play. There's not enough Rays fans or Marlins fans.
Right.
And it's just not going to happen. Baseball needs to get out of Florida and make it that's your spring training destination trip.
I agree.
Baseball doesn't agree.
So who gets a new stadium first?
I think the Rays do. I think the Rays are going to stay in Florida.
I don't think they're going to stay in Florida. I don't. I think it'd be stupid. Well, I lied. I think they're going to stay in Florida because I think they're going to move to Orlando.
I don't think they're moving.
I don't think
Orlando.
they stay in Tampa.
I think Orlando is.
They should move to Salt Lake. All right, next question. The next 2 are football questions. What's more likely, Matthew Stafford or Eli Manning get into the Hall of Fame first?
Eli Manning will get in the next couple of years. Stafford is not going to retire until at least the end of this season, and then he's got a 5-year countdown. Manning gets in first.
You think Manning gets in?
Yeah.
Because of his numbers or because of who his family is?
2 Super Bowls, 2 iconic wins over teams he shouldn't have.
Right.
He gets in.
I agree. I think he gets in next year. I really do. Is Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer?
Yes. First ballot. Absolutely. Incredible numbers. Won a Super Bowl. He's a Hall of Famer.
I agree. I'm not going to argue with you. All right, last one. What's more likely, the Bears and Steelers make the playoffs or the Packers and 49ers miss the playoffs?
Steelers are going to make the playoffs this year because they never miss.
Right.
Bears have Ben Johnson. They're making the playoffs. I don't think the Packers make it this year. So I'm going, it's more likely the Packers and the 49ers are not in the
Both
playoffs.
of them miss.
Both miss this season.
It's more likely that both of them miss the playoffs
Both have.
than it is that the Bears and Steelers both make the playoffs.
Yes. I don't think 49ers have Brock Purdy, who is a second tier quarterback. He's in the bottom.
I just want to make it clear. This isn't
I know.
One of them doesn't make the playoffs.
I get it.
This is both the teams don't make the playoffs.
I would not be surprised at all if the Packers and the 49ers, neither one of them make the playoffs this year. I'd be shocked if the Steelers and the Bears aren't in the playoffs this year.
The Bears.
The Bears. Just because they've got a new coach who's going to fire the old team up. They've got the talent. He'll get something out of Caleb Williams, and they'll make the playoffs.
What if Rodgers gets hurt?
Well, they've got the iconic backup. I can't think of his
Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
He's won some games for him.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
More famous for getting hit in the head with a helmet, but his own helmet.
Yes. The whole thing is going to be if Rodgers can put up with wide receivers that freelance and don't run exact patterns that he wants them to run.
You think it's more likely the Packers and the 49ers miss the playoffs
you want me to say
than the Bears and the Steelers make the playoffs?
For the fourth time, Bears and Steelers will be in the playoffs this season. I don't think the Packers or the 49ers.
So this isn't even a more likely thing. You just, in general, don't think the Packers and the 49ers are going to make the playoffs.
I don't. Not with the 49ers are still, they lost all their players. Everybody was hurt last year. Purdy is not going to take them on his shoulders and get them to the playoffs.
You sure about that?
Yeah. Jordan Love, if he plays like he did in 23, he'll lift the Packers up and he'll get them to the playoffs. But I think it's more likely they miss.
I agree. I just want to hear you say it a bunch of times. I also think that's true. I think the Bears are a dangerous team. We'll see what Ben Johnson can do. I think the Packers or the 49ers make the playoffs, though.
I don't.
One of those two teams are going to make the playoffs. I think it's more likely that either the Bears or the Steelers don't make the playoffs than it is that both the Packers and the 49ers miss. I don't think they both miss.
I said the 49ers weren't going to make the playoffs last year, and you ridiculed me. And I was right.
I didn't expect everybody's leg to fall off.
I said they were going to take
I didn't expect
back.
The contract disputes that they were dealing with.
I was right, and you were wrong.
I mean, Christian McCaffrey's leg basically fell off. Brandon Ayuk didn't show up till week 2 and then got hurt.
Which always happens.
I didn't expect that to happen. You were right, but it's because everything went wrong in San Francisco.
You want to say that again? I like hearing it.
I said it once. That's all I'm going to say it. You and I have had a great show, but as you all know, you cannot have a conversation with your father without your dad getting the last word, so it is all you.
So this year we have to face it again. Baseball Hall of Fame voters have to get a control on this. Guys like Dave Parker belonged in the Hall of Fame many, many years ago. Guys like Ron Santo belonged in the Hall of Fame during their lifetime. Get these guys in when they're young enough to be able to enjoy it and at least sign their autograph, HOF. Rest in peace, Dave Parker. You should have been in years and years ago, but I'm glad you're going to go in now.
I like it. Thank you, as always, so much for watching. This has been Sports Talk with Dad. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.